Hi everyone, Stephen Downs here again with how to use Grasshopper, and in this video we're going to use the site information that we set up in the admin screen to create a home page. I'm just setting up the little pip. That's me down there. Try to keep that out of the way. Alright, so this is what it looks like when you go to your site. Now, this is the previously installed fallacies.ca website. Out of the box, I haven't changed anything on it. And what we're going to do is create the home page for fallacies.ca. Shouldn't take too long. Along the way, I'll introduce some ways that we use site data to configure the pages. This is a way that Grasshopper is different from a lot of other blogging or programs, where we actually construct all of our pages out of different pieces of data. So it's very much a data focused approach to creating a blog or a mailing list or whatever, a MOOC, as compared to a narrative kind of approach or a document kind of approach. So, and you'll see that as we go through it. So let's go into the personal learning environment. So clicking Ple, and take note, this is what the home page looks like now, and we'll compare it to what it looks like after we're done. So first things first, this is our generic Ple interface. It's the same interface you see all the time, whether you're working on your personal learning environment, whether you're building a MOOC, whether you're building an information website, whatever. In this case, we're building a website or a MOOC. Yeah, it's sort of hard to tell the difference. So I'm going to click here on this icon up here, and that brings me into my admin interface. Normally I'd like something to load there, but the script isn't working quite right yet, so we're going to see a lot of that. And then I'm going to click on General, and this is the general information. Now, right off the bat, we see that an update is needed. Not sure really why, but if we just click on this, it's going to take a few seconds. What it's doing is it's getting the latest version of the Grasshopper script directly from GitHub. It's cloning it, downloading it, and then what it'll do is it'll take all the files from the GitHub and put them into place so that the Grasshopper server is then running the new version of the script. So it's going to take a few seconds. This is taking longer than I expected. It should show me a result here at some point. I sincerely hope I haven't broken it. That could happen, in which case I'd have to reinstall this entire site. If this happens to you, kind of wait. Let's try reloading the personal learning environment. When all else fails, reload the personal learning environment. And we'll click on the admin, we'll click on general again. Yeah, so for some reason the message didn't come up. I don't know why, but now it's up to date at version 9.16. All right. Cron is the automated system that runs in the background. It runs actually once every minute, and it's used to perform a variety of functions. So what this is telling us here is that this part of the system is working fine. And you can always view the cron log by clicking here. See, it's already auto-publishing pages and doing stuff. 0 link count. Okay, well, we'll learn about that sometime in the future. The screen I want to focus on here is this screen, the site name, site information. So you notice this is all pretty much blank. All of this information can be used. Probably the first thing we do when we get a new gRSShopper site is to fill in this information. So that's what I'm going to do. So Stephen's Guide to Logical Fallacies is the name of this site, and fallacies don't have a site image, don't have a site logo or icon. Email is my email. Okay, description, website that summarizes all the logical fallacies. Publisher, that's me. Creator, that's me. License, pick your license. One day I'll put a drop down for this to make it a little easier, but Creative Commons by NC share alike. Now that'll probably bother the Creative Commons people who want a precise version number or whatever, but that's why I'll create a drop down for this. Same with the time zone. I don't have a drop down yet, so I'll just use the America Toronto. Reset key I'm not using at the moment, but this key is to reset some information about the website. This is what gets you out of trouble if for some reason an update failed or whatever. I'll just leave it blank for now, but when I get that working, we'll come back to it. Now I'm going to submit the site information. Site information has been submitted. Great, we're done. All right, now what I want to do is set up the home page for the site. So if we click back on the gRSShopper icon here, which always takes us back to this starting page, so I could just click here and say edit the home page, and in fact that's what I'm going to do. So there's a bunch of stuff that happens over here on the left hand side, but we don't need to worry about that so much at the moment. What we want to look at here is what's happening here. Now the site comes with a default home page, but the default home page is my personal web page. You probably don't want that. So let's wipe all of that out. We could preserve all of that or whatever. I'm going to wipe all of that right out. Okay. Now, this is not a what you see is what you get interface. And the reason for that is pages are intended to be containers for other stuff. So what we do in the page is we script how we want this container to work. Now, maybe one day I'll be able to write an interface that does this automatically, and it might look something like the WordPress Gutenberg editor or something like that. That would be really fancy, but for now you have to use script. So what's the first thing we want on our page? Let's make the page name. So H1 is for the heading. Now, I could type Stephen's Guide to the Logical Fallacies. I'm going to get really tired of that very quickly. So there's a series of shortcuts I can use to include those site variables. So if I put an angle bracket, just like a web tag, and then st_name, that's the site name. And then I'll close that. So that's how I define how I want the site name to appear on my page. Now, let's take a look at what this looks like. So I'll click preview up here, and see already we're seeing the summary, and it broke. View page and preview window. Ah, yes. Okay. So that's why it broke. All right. That's because we don't have the htaccess file defined. It probably didn't come with the distribution. So I'll add that for the next update, and we'll see why that didn't work. But there's always a backup. So view page and preview window. So we see this is page 152. If this doesn't work, it's because of htaccess, which I'll talk about in another video. CGI bin page.cgi page equals, and that. So what the htaccess does is it says, whenever you see a command that says fallacies.ca/page/152, send it to this address. That's all it does. And I'll hit that. And so here we have the title, Stephen's Guide to the Logic of Fallacies. Now we'll just leave this screen here. Now, notice we've got a header here, we've got a footer here. What's happening? Well, if we come back to our home page, you see how we have responsive header and responsive footer. So we have to put something in. So I'm just going to put a little single blank space. The system won't find a header titled a little blank face, but that's okay. Now when I preview it, and I'll just reload this, you see the header and the footer are gone. So that's how the page works, right? You define a header that appears above the page content, a footer that appears below the page content, and then here's the page content. So st name, there it is. So we can put in other information as well. So for example, creator stcrea. Now, generally, when I use the BR tag on the home page, I like to do this, because if I do this, it'll kind of disappear. I'll show you what I mean. So let's go here first. Look at that. See, creator Stephen Downs. You notice I'm not hitting return or submit button or anything like that. Grasshopper updates these changes as you make them. So you don't need to worry about submitting or saving. It'll save these live on the fly. So you might think, okay, this is a real pain in the sense that I have to remember all these tags. But this question mark here tells me all the different variables I can use. So here they are, all right? So I'll just capture all of those with a Control C, and we'll close this. We'll come back here. I'll just paste this in, so now we have them. Right, so st name we've got, so base URL, so URL, st URL, right? We don't need the CGI, the file directories, and so on. The site image URL relative to the base, site file directory, photo directory. Here's the copyright string. So let's put it like this. st copy. And then publisher. st pub. Whoops. I'm getting ahead of myself here. st pub creator. st creator. And I won't put a login link here. So let's put some of these BR tags, and the BR tag just advances us one line. So here we go, and let's see what it looks like. And there's all the information. I don't know what that plus is. Oh, that's what that plus is. So, like I said, I prefer to do it like this, just to make sure, because the system, when it loads stuff into the database, it does some interpreting so that what's being stored in the database doesn't interfere with the page that's being displayed. And that was kind of tricky to do. In a lot of sites, they aren't able to do it, and you have to use like Markdown. And the real purpose of Markdown isn't to make it easier, it's so that you have a completely different syntax to create the page from the one that is used in displaying the page. But I've set it up so that you can use exactly the same syntax. So I'm really pleased with myself. Okay. Now, the description now. Oh, this is a fancy home page. Oh no, this isn't really what we want as the description. Let's make our description something like a description of the website. Welcome to Stephen's Guide to Logical Fallacies. Could be anything. I could type it right here into the code, but I've decided to put it there to show another feature. I'm displaying a page. A page is any kind of record on Grasshopper, and I can display any variable associated with this page, again with some special coding. So for the description, I'll just put it right here at the top. I'll give it its own paragraph even. So that's the coding, and then page description. Whoops, got to spell it right. It is picky that way. And I'll close the paragraph. So you see, how can you tell? This is the variable name, right? So I call this variable with the name of the type of data that I'm using, which is a page, an underscore, and description. And that's true of all data anywhere in the site. And we're going to use this a lot. So we can see there are other variables related to this page as well that we'll see that I could also use. I could even put the value of the header, right, and the value of the footer being used using this. Now that won't show the actual header, it'll show the name of the header, because that's what I'm showing there. So I've updated that record. Let's have a look. All right, so there's the description. Here's all the information, and I'm done. Well, not quite. I've got it here, but I want to publish it on the website. And again, this is a way that Grasshopper is a bit different from a lot of other systems. A lot of systems, WordPress, Drupal, etc., every time you access a page, they actually run the entire script and generate the page live on the fly. Now, Grasshopper can do that if you want. We just saw it right here. But I like efficiency. And I like it if people are just getting a flat web page. So the way I've set up Grasshopper is we define this page, and now we have a completely separate mechanism that allows us to publish this page. So I'll click on Publish. So here's the location of the page, index.html. That's the home page for the website. I can choose to archive this or not. I can choose to auto-publish this or not. What that means is, well, see, we have our little help buttons here. If we archive it, then we're going to save a version of this page every single time we publish it. If we auto-publish it, the system will automatically publish or republish the page on a regular interval, weekly, daily, hourly. Allow empty keywords is something that we'll look at later. Clone is something that we'll look at later. Delete's kind of obvious, but we don't want to delete our home page, do we? So we have a location, very important. It won't let you publish unless it has a place to publish to. I'm going to click Publish now. So I've published it. Here's the page. Let's have a look at it. There's our home page. Template file not found is what it's going to tell us, because remember we used a blank. So we'll fix that in a second. But what I want you to notice now is, let's open a new window. We'll type https://fallacies.ca, and let's do a reload on that. There's our home page, right? The Grasshopper setup screen has disappeared, and you won't see that again. You're done with that. You could access it. There are ways to access, the functionality, but you don't need it anymore. We overwrite that with this, our new homepage. So there we go. Grasshopper homepage, all done. There was something else I was going to show, was there? I thought there was. No, I don't think so. Page, edit. That's it. Oh, right, the how to fix the headers. Okay, so let's fix this. We'll just type blank and blank. Right, now let's try reloading it. Let's republish it. And this is something to take note of, right? So here, I've changed the content. Here's the live version. You see it says hello, which is what I just put in. But this version hasn't changed because I haven't published it yet. So it's a way of being able to stage your changes, right? Here's what it looks like now. Here's what it looks like as published. And you see the difference between the two. So, and normally normally the page address, just page/152, that would also work. I'm going to fix that so that it does for you the next time you update Grasshopper. Or it might already work for you, depending on when you're viewing this video. Okay, so let's publish this. So we'll come back here, page, publish. So we've published it again. Now let's reload. Okay, now you see it's naming the template file that it's not able to find. So let's do something cool. We're going to make a new template. So we're going to call it blank, and in the description we're just going to put a single blank character. And we're done. We've made our template. Now let's go back to the page. Oh, how do we go back to our page? Well, we could just do this. Click here, edit the home page. Here we go. We don't need to do anything else. We'll just publish the page. Publish. And now let's reload this. And you can't see it, but we're showing the blank template above and below Stephen's Guide to the Logical Fallacies. So, that's it. That's the video. We've set up our homepage using variables defined in the Grasshopper screen. Thanks for joining me. I'm Stephen Downs. I'll see you for the next video.